game yesterday against Space Station, and we were asking, you know, the casters back then, it's like, what happened? And it's like they were just asleep at the wheel at the start of the very first map, and they couldn't wake up. At Space Station, they made use of that, completely obliterated them there on Chalet, and after that, it was just a shorter series that G2 could not take home. However, there's just this thing about G2, first of all, of making it through the last chance qualifiers every single time, and then deciding, you know what, a lower bracket seems fine as well whenever they're at SI. So, never count them out.
Well, will this be another start of a lower bracket run, or can OXG do something that is kind of par for the course, a Skoposh ban?
Okay.
I don't know if that's the first, but if it is, and it's one of the first, the removal of that operator. I mean, on Bank, it's a great, powerful operator in the right hands. Obviously, you'll have
a big map
that want to extend themselves towards the top floor, waste time, and then go, nope, I'm down in the basement now. I'm down here. You're drawing focus, drawing utility, drawing attention, and creating problems for whoever you are up against. But from this point onwards, let's see if they can try and roll it into some results. We will start our way on towards Bank. One of these two teams will find themselves joining the names of those sent home.
Yes, neither of these wants to be the team that is going to go home. Both of them want to go on. G2, of course, a very storied organization inside of Rainbow Six Siege, won the Hammer with different rosters as well. Of course, would be looking to challenge and put in their name for a third one as well. Whereas Oxygen, I mean, they mentioned it on the desk. They've had a relative calm 2 years, weren't at the events. Now, here at Six Invitational, 2 games away from making it to the main stage and playing in front of a home crowd, which again, is going to be the goal of any of these players currently inside the server here. We're starting off G2 on the attack. They're actually the number 2 attacking team in the competition so far. Been doing quite well, pretty high success rate that they find. That always makes it a bit worrisome when you're up against them like this, because you want to start off with a decent defense. You want to get those 4 rounds on the board. And G2 is looking to prevent that here as a quick drone clear is being utilized. They are trying to figure out how many people are up top. Well, the answer is, I believe, just 1. We see 2 around servers, 1 on the main stairs. No, just none. Gomez is the closest, playing around on the main stairs, basically on floor 0.5. As the openings are being made by the X-Kairos.
There it is. Quick control here. Over open, over pressure, but, you know, sort of be found later. And Diaz can sort of get himself on the rotate, get himself round and about and causing problems on the map. The hatches sort of just give him options. Later on, there's an opportunity, but it's Doki. Cuts the head off of the first player in this showdown. Gomez gone, and that's an early loss for your keeper barricades, for your army, for any of that control on the potential space here, because, you know, they've got the smoke, sure, and the C4, they've got everything on a back line, but the utilization of them being your first engagement is probably not something they wanted to go like that.
Blaz now getting himself in position, requesting the opening to be made on the long wall as well. The Grimbies are giving away the information of where Newers is headed. They're just trying to force him off from the actual site itself. They're just doing some prep work. There's about a minute left, and G2 is probably going to eye up to see if they can go for a bit of width. As Uno's going for the plan to smoke, however, will cancel them temporarily.
It's a great play there. They're already baiting utility, and they get hat with the grenade gone. Now, they've still got some smoke canisters. They've got no more as that one gets loose. But there's 30 seconds. Blaz pops the head off of Yoga, and, well, they're not going to waste any time. They have a 4 versus 2. They have the hatch. Is a bit of a back and forth, but they've actually rotated their way out in the chaos. There, Newers has been able to isolate the players that went for the cross. They're inside the other side at this point, but they've sort of gone maybe a little bit too deep. The cover is there from Doki, watching for an engagement that he can't quite get. Snap blocked shut, and now the fight of the way out of green. It just leaves Blaz in the middle. It's a bit of an awkward gun to manipulate. Goes to the secondary. Is he going to find his second on it? No, and I mean, obviously, they lost the hatch. There was the control there, retaken by OXG, but the rotate was just caught in half.
I mean, it's totally understandable why they decided to go deep. They got the initial picks, and you know, they realized, okay, side is clear. They've taken out the players that were on the side. You had Dia still left inside of the garage. You then had the Orcs rotating up towards the top floor, and they're like, okay, if they're above the hatch, we can just go in deep, try and plant in the lockers itself. But Dia's caught off the first one rotating through. Then we saw the hatch drop to come in as well, and suddenly you're finding yourself in a 2-on-2 position where, well, you're kind of not in the right position. So maybe a mistaken call to come through. But if you were going to plant on the default spot, Dios was just going to shut you down as well. So they kind of had to, considering the fact there was only a single player up on top, to try and provide support over that hatch. So Oxygen, very well played. They're two players in the perfect position to stop the push that G2 managed to go for. If they would have planted default, they would have had it from the top floor. If they would have gone deep, well, you saw Diaz was there in the garage. You had the Orc still on top, both of them finding the kill. So even though G2 had everything going for them in that round, Oxygen still had two key positions to stop that plant from happening.
Bit of a false start there for the side of G2, but a great response from OXG. They sort of highlighted some of the plays from earlier on in the day. The series that got OXG here via Shopify Rebellion led to big little clutch moments, big little wiggles on the defense around the kit and keeping themselves without, you know, being shot in the face, which is, it's a nice thing. It helps you in that sort of situation. Having a look on the cross of the pressure. Obviously, these two, both sort of teams came in later than others. They didn't have the same route through, even though G2 were able to find themselves on towards major stages. The points accumulated were not enough. It's going to be, I think, the first LCQ team we will be sending home.
Yeah, because we have Raza, we have Cyclops.
Yep, and it's when they've met each other. So credit to the LCQ teams who have put in a hell of a fight. Obviously, OXG, they weren't present at either Manchester or Montreal.
Yeah.
And
I mean, they haven't had an event in 2 years.
They were the only team that did not show up at either of the events this year. And yet here they are. One round up against G2, the only team that was undefeated, didn't drop a single map during group stages, and then Alamau gets the head of Had. It's Doki driving around the side to get a second. They've got control very quick, and this is why their attack stat is so good. So precise, so succinct, and so deadly. The drop there, Uno has the crossfight. Doki does go down. It's another 4 versus 2. We know how the last one went, but it seems like they're more focused on killing rather than an objective right now.
Yeah, they have the numbers as well, and they have the positions to do that, but yet again, it is starting to slightly slip away as Gomez finds 2. This time, though, Plant is going to go down. There's no way that Gomez can cancel this. 45 seconds will be counting as Blast is going to find the final kill. G2 is going to be able to find the trade. And if you're an Oxygen fan right now, even though it's 1-1, you are kind of worried, because with how these rounds start, it is two very explosive basic starts from G2 where they get 2-3 kills off the get-go completely free. And then, what's this? You don't see it, but the all chat has been going off as soon as we go in player cams.
There's already been like paragraphs back between the two teams. They're getting in each other's heads. I mean, it's the sort of way of sort of piecing it together, right? Obviously, Hat is the only one on the roster. It's their first time at an SI, at the sort of performance position. But the fact that these players haven't been on an international stage for a long time means that alongside that, I mean, the last time they've beaten an EU team in competitive,
it's been a very long time ago.
It's been a very, like, multiple years.
And different roster as well, completely at that point.
Technically, OXG, as far as I can see, the last time the roster, the organization, which was very different players at this point, won a game, it was against Wolves. But SI 2023.
Yeah. That is
but a very entirely different roster.
Yeah, so I was going to say, so like these players wouldn't even have had that experience.
2022 Berlin Major for Yoga on the role of X-Step.
Yeah.
Also against Wolves, funnily enough.
What is it about Wolves? I mean, we also said it, like if Wolves knock out a team in the first round, they go on to win SI. For the first time, we don't have Wolves here, so we don't know who's going to win SI at this point. It is truly a big gift in that case. But oh well. G2 after two very explosive starts to their attacks. Only one of them sadly being successful for them. Looking to move on with that momentum. And as the opening's being made, Kanto is going to be cracked open, meaning Newers will be stuck inside this elevator. I believe the hatch has already been opened up though, so we'll give him a way out if he's being challenged.
That's it though, that sort of encircling pressure is G2's bread and butter. And Hat might be the next point of it. You can see Yoga's being droned out above. He's trying to offer an extension and support towards Yog. But he's otherwise waiting for G2 to pop up, and they don't feel confident with the entrance there immediately on towards the lobby instead. Let's see if we can try and shepherd them out in a different manner, force the play elsewhere. Loira, who's had a great tournament so far. It's going to be the focus on the back end, hope that the push players become free pickups for him. It's a steady rotate on the other side of a soft wall. He gives away his position now. Are OXG going to try and close down on this? Look at the slow creep around of Gomez. He's about to find a fight, but he's well watched. Loira picks up that opener. Doki gets Hat. Takes a lot of damage for it, but it's another 5 versus 3.
And G2 now losing a member. Uno gone, a feet being spotted out, but Alamau stepping away just in time. Doki low. They're definitely having the opportunity here to fight this back. But the tracks are forcing Yoga to go down into the basement. There is going to be some Dockstins out, but unable to actually connect those. And Newer's going on a bit of a rotation around. It is Doki trying to find an angle left or right. The opening from the Selma should provide a bit of extra width, but Newer's just surviving there by the inch of a bullet to come through as Laura shuts him down and Diaz finds Blaz.
40 seconds, 3 versus 2, but a lot of damage done to pretty much everybody still standing. Yoga on the slow creep up blue stairs. They're well aware of it though, and Yoga actually just leaves. 20 seconds, he's not gonna risk. Oh no, he double steps! He gets the header 1, he gets the header 2! Alamau! All that's left here, worried about the fight behind him, but he's also got a fight in front of him, and one with a kid on the floor as well. He's just steadying his way through, but OXG are giving him nothing. And they will also get nothing. Gonna hold the plant, but it's an easy cleanup for Diaz. OXG, back and forth.
Good fucking shit, let's go. Good shit, Diaz, good shit, Yog, let's go.
Lots of let's go. They're very hyped for this. Again, they find themselves at a disadvantageous position at the start of the round, but they're able to fight themselves back in it. Yoga, a huge round from him, playing from blue, finding those 2 kills as G2 decided to go for the push. They knew he was there. They had the information, decided to challenge it, and lost 2 players as a result. Technically, they could have fought a 3v1 on site. If they had another way in, and maybe, you know, had a bit of a flank watch in that case, just wait for him to come up. They could have maybe leveraged it, but decided to do it the way they did and found themselves on the worst end of it. And now, Oxygen again, finding themselves in the lead. Yeah, but Yoga just stepped back quickly to check if the hatch is being challenged. Finding both.
As said before, G2 up towards this point didn't drop a single map. Then a series fell away from them against SSG.
Yeah.
Will America haunt G2? It's early.
It is early.
But as soon as that thought starts to just wriggle around in your brain,
you cannot let that happen, because as soon as you do, you've already lost it. Yeah. As soon as you're like, no, it's an NA team, we're gonna maybe lose this, like the game's already over. You cannot let those thoughts get into your mind as a competitor. You need to make sure that you're just taking this round to round, game by game, map by map. And again, G2, it's not like they've been, you know, on the worst end of things. If anything, they are looking better in the initial start of these rounds than Oxygen is. It's just that Oxygen has the clutch factor currently working out for them, finding 2 of those rounds, even when they are multiple people down. And that is something G2 need to work on for the remainder of this matchup, because again, those first openings were explosive, they were effective, they got the kills, uncontested, and then things just fell apart.
Frozen out on the hatch will slow down the approach a bit, and they're just going to juggle this for as long as possible because, well, it slows down everything. Really, you lose the ability to cut your way across in towards service if they can hold it a bit convincingly. You lose your ability to safely start removing some of the utility buried inside the site as well. Obviously, there's no Goyo canisters, but there's still other chances, dangers, there's still other plays, and oh, there's just another catch there on towards it.
I mean, I'm not really too worried about it because they started this at the 2-minute 15 mark. There's no challenge going up from the top floor or the middle floor, so G2 have all the time in the world to make sure the hatch will open up. Of course, it's annoying. It's going to be frozen by such a long time. However, it's going to open up. They still have a minute 15 to bait out the utility. That's more than enough time to get this done. However, there are 3 nitro cells and 3 smoke canisters still left in the side of oxygen. That should be enough utility to at least deal a bit of damage, maybe even get a kill or 2 onto the side of G2 if they're just purely focusing on getting that plan down. So we need to see width, maybe an elevator drop, maybe a drop from the vault. There needs to be something. They cannot just wait.
Well, there's the play on the smoke canisters, 50 seconds, and with 3 C4s and the smokes, as you said, it's going to be something that there needs to be this pressure elsewhere, and the read on it means that, well, they're still going to try and juggle another smoke canister, but at this point, it has to be the pressure. They're going to see if they can stop people getting close enough to loose them, but it just takes one connection for that kit to go cold in a devastating position. Alamau is on the long watch on the drone, but as soon as somebody tries to sort of get boots on the ground, it's going to get picked up. The swing on the cover, Alamau goes down, and then there is that C4 that'll dictate the action here. 4 versus 3 versus 4 versus 3. Traded back and forth because Loira pops off for a triple. Hits the hatch and goes to the secondary. Can he get it? No, but it's applied off the back of the heroics of Loira. Hat wears it atop and puts them in the 1 versus 1, but he knows he's got to fight here. Uno versus Hat. One of the oldest guns versus one of the newest here. And they're playing a juggling game of time, of pressure, of awareness. The flash will get thrown out towards it. He avoids it, and he's going to drop down, find the fight, but 18 seconds. Uno, he's playing this cautiously. He's sticking. Hat's holding on. Uno's got to swing, and he finds it at the end.
Good job, bro. Good job, Uno.
Oh my God.
A close round to come through. But Uno, I mean, he has the experience. He's, as you mentioned, one of the oldest guns in the game. Probably didn't even have a little tremble in his hand as he was going for that one. It's just another day at the office as he closes it down. But what a play from Loira. G2, they were down in the depths. They lost a couple of those players whilst they were trying to get that plan down. Alamau as well as he dropped down the hatch. And Loira decided, you know what, someone's got to step up. It's time for me to make myself shine. Gets 4, almost the ace. And then also credits to Hat, of course, managing to almost clutch that one out in that situation. Just look at those clean shots, manipulating the pillar in the hard cover. And Uno for the close up. Important round to be won here by G2, finding themselves 2-2.
Again, you know, it sort of shows in all the history of him. Didn't take the box drop hatch on towards the site directly as well. He made sure that he was a bit safer, a bit further away. He wasn't going to get caught out hitting the ground. He knew he had time to play with. As he said, cool, calm, and collected. But 2-2, and it's starting to heat up, turn into a bit of a series, and that's kind of what you want from 2 of statistically the best attacking teams across this whole tournament. Currently, that's where they both sit as well, and well, Nua's removes Doki, and I'm sure we'll read about that in all chat later, but for now, it's a big opener. Goodbye, Habana.
Yeah, that is going to be a big worry in terms of like some of the hard breach potential you have. Luckily, Laura's still playing around, of course, onto the ace as well. Some of the grenades are being used to get rid of the keeper barriers, but Gomez is going to be able to outlive that one. Lamar, of course, still carrying 2 as well, but he's down on the roam below. He's trying to see if he can hunt anybody down. Now, no one's actually home. No one's actually there to try and challenge him for it. As Laura opens up Kanto, instantly going back up to that roof. It's just the pressure that matters. There's no one there to actually currently challenge it, but it's open nonetheless. And that gives them the basically less freedom of rotating around on Soda hallway. They know that they can be picked up when they do so, giving G2 a bit more freedom on working on this when they're trying to go for the clear.
The throw, the roll, the pressure to stock, and the keeper was thought about, and will get reconstructed and probably won't be held on to too directly. They're just making sure that utility gets utilized and thrown out, and yeah, Gomez rotates their way back to just checking with Diaz, see how he's doing, see how safe he feels. Alamau might be about to change that now. Is that a watch directly on, or are they on cams? I think Yoga's on cams towards the top of the stairs. He's tucked in close, but he's so close to a rotate, and you can see Alamau is sort of toying with it. He's about to get a gift on his right, and there's the strike, and he gets the down through the wall, but they activate. 2 OXG players step in towards top wide, and he's already gone. Yoga is watching. Nuez is gone. That's revenge for earlier, but the focus still needs to come towards that wall, that objective, and Alamau's off towards Spiral.
They now have to worry about white stairs. They think, okay, he could be coming up from the main, so we have to pay attention to it. He instantly saw 2 bodies trying to respond to it. That opens up an opportunity for G2 to start putting pressure on an other side of the map. And Uno's going to be using that. He's going to be using those talent shields to start working himself towards the side, slowly but steadily, and start to creep out some of those angles. As Yoga will find Alamau, though, so that's a bit of pressure now suddenly gone. He finds himself below, though, so that's a very crucial factor as one more drops on the side itself.
That's it. They're able to keep their self rolling, but 30 seconds and the rotate's coming back round to the top. Loira, the man who saved the round with the drive last time, is caught out by Diaz. Well aware, watching, and the pop over the mirror window isn't quite as effective as a well-timed C4. Leaving just Blaz gets the first. The second swings on. And the hold in Janitors with the mirror windows just proves a bit too tricky to crack open.
I mean, we've seen a lot of these rounds play on this map specifically, and we know that always Janitor is one of those crucial positions. Teams try and take it, try and deal with it in multiple different ways. Sometimes from below, using a buck to open up vertically and just shoot out the canister. Other times you just try and overwhelm it, get some smoke on top of the window, maybe crack it as well with a Zofia impact or a grenade from the Ash launcher. But G2 instantly on the back foot already when they lost Doki, of course. Another way on how you can deal with those mirror windows. Just 2x Gyros could have done the job there.
Yeah, exactly.
And it keeps them in a strong position, which allows them to take the round. And now we have one more round in this first half. Can't tell if he's annoyed or just...
It's a bit of both. I mean,
yeah.
You talk experience, and that's a game he loves to play either side of it. So I think he sort of a game respects game moment. 3-2. OXG, can they break this deadlock? We're back towards open. Back towards the site they found themselves some success on before, thanks to a brilliant maneuver on towards blue, but then it also turned into a second sacrifice. They swung for the fight, they stuck around and won it. Now, though, the option is a clash for the first time, and I love how responsive both these teams are towards each other. The changes coming through.
Yours. Is he gonna get drone? He's just hiding. I mean, the drone is coming around the corner. Oh, was he too quick there, Alamau?
Too quick, but they shot the drone. Nuez believed, I think, he'd been seen, and ooh, he might have found himself a little bit angsty, a little bit early there. I fully believe that was too quick, but
I think Alamau didn't see him. Yeah, but it's like
you don't want to trust it. If you're in that position,
the drone looked at you, so you assume you've been seen.
You assume the drone looked at you and then immediately left.
Alamau getting away there with what could have been a detrimental mistake in that round. Now, G2 have taken control of the side offers. There is some rotations out there. They have the opportunity to start putting down some pressure from that side. Newers, what are you going to do? Are you going to go for a bit of a run out here to see if someone's out on the rappel?
Yeah.
But what I can see on the overhead, it's not going to be the case, though. There's no one there, so they're just going to give himself away.
You could see him looking over at his teammates' monitors. They're on cams. They're sort of feeding that towards him there and giving him that suggestion, that opportunity. Bank does offer its play space, but as you said, nobody's there, so he'll learn that lesson and move off pretty quick.
He's probably, you know, was waiting to see if any of his teammates were receiving any shots. Very heavily populated, by the way, down on the main stairs. 3 or 4 of them just there a second ago. Just look at them. 2 of them on the hatch. Yoga right next to it. Newers on the right below of it. And they're just holding on. A minute left on the clock. There's not a lot of time for G2. They really need to start putting pressure down on the side itself. And whilst they've done a lot of verticality on the adjacent rooms, not on the actual side itself.
They hop in and aren't entirely sort of contested on it as the breach will get popped open from a couple of overlaying Selmas. What is Loira going to try here? The flashes perfectly threaded, and there's the spray, the connection onto one, but he gets caught out by the second and the third. Gomez ties it on, the shield, the clash operating and slowing Doki. And it's just a bit of an execution towards the end. OXG tied 2 rounds in a row. They're up 4-2.
Yeah, they're definitely up here and making some good strides on this first half, finding themselves with that 4-1. And if we break that last one down, I mean, they managed to get a lot of control. They managed to get the entirety of top, knew where these players were, you know, made them rotate out. But they didn't really have the information on the side. They weren't exactly aware of where these players were and how many were actually in the position. You can always assume there's one player on the hatch. It's always the case. There's always someone there. So when you drop the hatch, you go for that fight. He won it. Little did he know, Yoga was hiding right next to him and was like, hello there, let me just refrag my fallen mate and make sure that smoke canisters are out there, locking off the rest of that round. And Oxygen find themselves then up with a 4-2, a little bit of frustration on G2. Because we mentioned it before, the #2 attacking team in the entire competition so far have only been able to find 2 against the number 18th defending team in the competition. You know which team is actually better at attacking than G2?
What team?
Oxygen. Oh. Yeah.
Well,
so,
it is a map that plays well with aggressive players, right? You have to give compliments to how OXG are utilizing the space. They're sort of creating so many problems that G2 are finding themselves a bit lost in the water, trying to get it all cleared out. At this point, it'll just give as many options towards G2 here, starting down in the basement, towards the vault, towards lockers, and nobody immediately on the adventure. I should double check as well, the scope was banned. It is the first ban of scope throughout the tournament.
Okay.
Which, fair enough.
So far, Oxygen have played a wonderful first map. Been able to stem the strides that basically G2 had in the very initial fight, but Loira opens up onto Newers. The important kills just instantly gonna take about any of the speed that they might have wanted to go with. Also, the Grimby is gone. It is like, I mean, it's not like a killing kind of vector gadget, but it is a zone denial gadget. And if you want to go for a plant in lockers, denying red, denying the site itself is such an important feature to have.
Preparing themselves to drop for the angles. They have full watch and still the Oryx is on board. Obviously useful against certain shields, but mainly just for exploration here. You can get yourself back up, force the team that's aggressive on their check, as both these teams are, to have to clear, check, and that slows down teams that want this precision. And at 30, they're getting themselves across towards the place where Nuez was killed, the very opener. Without the Grim, there's some pressure on towards a hatch. They'll have to get rid of the keeper at the bottom, but the Syria Laser Gate on the hatch itself, as well as the keepers now repositioned. Doki playing the server box, playing the corner. The utility's being used quite heavily, though. They have what? A frag grenade to try and roll this out, apart from maybe using the smokes for the motion. They use it here at the top and spray on the Deimos track, but the player survived, I assume. There's some sort of structure. There is the keeper barricade on the back. Now it will break, but the smoke downs the player. There's one, there's two, no! If it had just shot, but we get that benefit and they do not. Now OXG trades out. Didn't know about Doki's position, now they do. And a 4 versus 2. Hat, hurt, either side the swing as Doki's to pick up. Wants the connection with Diaz, who's just dropped towards the bottom, but even Alamau stepped in now, offering support to his teammate, tearing the head off of that approach.
Listening into them, they're just reinforcing themselves here. We're like, we are so good, we have this. And you gotta keep talking like that. I mean, you're a round down now. It is not as bad as, you know, otherwise it might have been for other teams. G2, an impressive round from them to come down. Loira to open up first and foremost. And while he might have basically whiffed that second shotgun shell as soon as he started to move up, I mean, he didn't see we could with the overlay, and then as soon as he saw them, there was 2, and then the brain goes to the middle. That's just how it works. And he can still have buckshot, but wasn't enough. But round's won, and that's most important.
4-3. This is turning and cooking into a series. Obviously, you know, it's a game of two halves. If G2 get this, tie themselves level, that's going to be 2 in a row, something that was only done by their opponents just before the turn of the half. It's a full swing back round of momentum. One of the things that I'm
Stokey hiding.
enjoying about this game, hide the bandit. Are they going to try and bandit trick?
They're surely not going to try and bend a trick. Maybe Janitor, they're not going to be trying to bend a trick. Or Canto.
Oh, Canto, okay.
Yeah, but it's like you're not going to be trying to bend a trick like the
No,
quad
100%.
wall.
But then I'm thinking, why are they hiding it? Because usually people go for the clear on this position anyway with grenades. They don't actually have any, but they do have Kali, who, you know, you could try and play against it. They might pre-fire some of these shots. Those castles are going to get opened. You can't bandit trick a castle.
Sadly not.
Maybe that's in one of the operators I'd like to see videos from the players. Loira gets Nears though, and Loira gets Gomez. That's the kit cold outside stock window.
That's going to take 40 seconds or something.
And the bandit just tricks the ex-Kairos. 6 gone, 8 remaining. Had is busy elsewhere. And with a shield, a Kali, and a Habana going to the bank, it's like the start of a joke.
It's definitely not the composition that you would like to have in a situation like this. There comes the blitz. Yoga having to push through. However, that Kiba barricade is making it very awkward for him to actually walk by. He's going to have to go all the way around or over. And thus decides to retreat himself, get back out. Diaz trying to provide a little bit of support with some extra information, but his drone quickly removed as well as the blitz. Looking to go top square instead.
Alamau is eagerly anticipating a blitz to turn a corner here. But with 1:20, at least they still have time, but you can see they're sort of struggling to find a route through. It is a lockdown from the side of G2. The Keeper's extension here, the still positioned, heavily fortified around top white, around janitors. They have the barbs and the reveal on anyone coming behind them. At this point, you're just trying to force your way on a tight situation. The pressure on towards the mirror window is what they want here. Might have taken a bit too long. There's a big bit of destruction on towards it. That should get popped. I am not entirely sure what happened there. Maybe a C4, but the mirror window is gone.
I think the C4 actually blew up the ex-Kairos mid-air because you saw them hang out there, hide away. The 5-on-3, the S goes down, and Nitrocell will kill Alamau. There's a bit of a whoop. Suddenly we're in a 2v2 situation. Yoga to get it with the Kali. I mean, this shield is in a perfect opportunity now to get the injure onto. Oh, no! He gets knifed. He didn't check the right corner. And Hat in a 1v2. He's been there before. Needs to clutch it out. The SPSMG9 in a 1v2.
I mean, at this point, in the middle of this fight, it's a tough gun to manipulate, but his main's even tougher, Doki. Puts that round an accident.
Bro, the way I was looking your movement, you were going forward, you went back, and I see for you. What we talked about, just a mirror shot, okay, guys? It's not your fault.
Accidents happen.
Just to say, it's not your fault.
He got a knife kill onto a blitz. I think it works out in the end, but if that round had gone away from them...
Yeah.
That would have been a little bit of a...
A little bit of a big whoopsie, we would call that.
Yeah.
There you go, like, just sneaking through. They had no idea it was coming. The second one was in the upside down rappel. They were just completely surprising. Yeah, I mean, I understand now. Like, he saw him go back, he threw it. At least he got the knife onto the blitz right afterwards. But if the blitz would have checked that corner...
That's a man who knows he C4'd somebody, but then knifed the blitz and they still won the round.
No, it's not often that you get a kill with your gun, a C4, and a knife all in the same round.
You know, what else do you
need? The fact that one of them was a teammate is just, you know, it's just whatever.
The trifecta ace, the hardest thing in the game to achieve, is 5 kills, primary, secondary, gadget.
Primary gadget, secondary gadget, knife.
Primary gadget, secondary gadget, knife. If one of them's a teammate, it still counts on the ace. It's like the royal flush of Rainbow Six Siege.
It's super hard to achieve, so sometimes you just need to get a little bit of help, you know?
You complete the game at that point.
Yeah, you can stop playing. That's more hard than winning, and that's not true.
4-4, we are all tied up, but if this one goes to G2, then, I mean, I said that one was a momentum shifter. And
Yeah.
it did start very strong because Loira, again, what a huge performance he's been able to have throughout this tournament. It's not that he's sort of sitting top dog when you've had Alamau and Doki also having the tournament they are, but compared to where he was, when he was first introduced to the roster, a few questions, but the growth of Loira has been magnificent.
It's definitely been great. Ah, there we go. I was going to say, there is a Valkyrie camera up somewhere because Gomez was trying to go for a bit of a challenge on a player that was on a camera, and suddenly there was some shots coming back at him without him even making his presence known. The Valkyrie camera right next to the window frame was able to give away some of the information. But it's been taken out now. However, Loira, again, is finding himself close in a window, ready to jump out, ready to make himself known. And again, if he goes unchecked, well, it could be another 2 kills waiting for him.
Glaz trying to make the pressure and the break here. They're moving behind the Flores drone, but he isn't gifted a body to find the fight on. They're deep, they're tucked, and they're yellow pinged, but it's sprayed through the sofa. Uno caught on a drone, and Newers gets the swing from Loira. A 5 versus 3 onto open is actually a jump out, but traded by a Claymore. So technically doesn't really affect too much, but 2 versus 4. You have the Glaz, you have that first pick, but you've utilized all your smoke canisters. Although leaving just Alamau alone, he's also used all of his. It's a bit of a close down on his position and his space. He bought himself some time, but with a minute, can he buy himself the kills needed? Doesn't get the player going for the plant. At this point, he has to fight his way across 3. But they fight their way back into the lead, 5-4.
There's also a really tough gun to work with there. The SMG-11 in a 1v4 is not the gun you want to have to take those fights. And Oxygen, they find themselves at a 5-4, basically able to stop the surprise that might have been coming in that last round, and the tactical timeout to be called right now by the side of G2. They'd rather call it now than wait for the 6th round that they lose in this map. Now they still have the opportunity to win it in regulation, not have to worry about the stress that comes with overtime.
And then we have the goal, defending for the back step, to have server strong, have everything strong, okay? And then like guys, no smoke, he's gonna play Warden. And if you go back for kitchen, guys, let's do a fortress in kitchen, okay? Like, let's play a zombie, let's play Kazami kitchen, smoke kitchen as well. Put everything for the bomb site. Let's go, let's go. We got this.
So mute in the staircases so you cannot be tracked by Deimos is basically what they took out of that first, and then make sure that the kitchen is going to be strong. Get a Zami, use those Kiba barriers to come through. So we are probably going to see a little bit of a roam game at that point because Lockers is being locked in.
No mute though.
No mute, no, that's true. One of the instructions they got, play mute on the staircase.
They got a lot of
forgot about that
instructions,
part.
but it's also down to the team in the lobby as well. And, you know, it's a very experienced, partially hammer lifting team. So
Go to lobby heads, Blast. Go to lobby heads.
they'll get themselves here moving and grooving. I mean, if they repeat how things have gone so far, they could be the one that sort of hurdle over OXG, get themselves on towards that point. It is their map. OXG are putting in a great, great fight. Excited to see how this continues over potentially all 3 maps itself. But from this point onwards, this opening engagement, this fight could be the dictation of the pace. Loira has explored outside of the map at points, but generally, even though over the rounds, OXG have been able to get it 3 times. They talked about killing and getting that first one in the conversion. They said G2 is generally better at it.
They're the #1 conversion team in the tournament.
Well, they haven't been. They haven't been in this lobby.
Yeah.
They haven't been in this lobby, Hap.
No, they definitely haven't been. Like, they've managed to get so many of the entry kills, and just, I think it's only 2 of them that got converted. Let me check. Yeah, 1 and 2, 3. Yes, 3 got converted, but they managed to get more entry kills than that. But anyway, 4-5. Tactical timeout just happened. We got some instructions on what they need to do. Bring that Azami, make things difficult, make it hard, make it strong. And use the Goyo together with those Kibas to slow things down. There's 2 minutes left in this round, plenty of time. We see that the top floor is slowly being cleared. There's some pinks coming around for people that are around on that very first floor, so it's going to be causing a little bit of cause or concern as well. They need to make sure that they double check, triple check, make sure there's no one left around before they can start working on the actual locker side itself.
They're playing to waste time in these positions. Uno deep in garage, Loira hanging around, and glasses so he can see through the blinds that are inevitably going to come his way. I assume the pressure from Gomez will be combined with Niers and combined with an attempt to kill him and swing him. But they said to delay it on Kitchen. It's steadily being cracked open. A minute 20. Getting themselves a bit sort of boots in the ground and moving. They have time, but it's always that time game. You've got, well, 2 C4s, but no smokes. One of the only holds that you'll see from a team towards this site that doesn't have that utility.
I mean, it was specifically mentioned by their coach, no smoke, will play Valkyrie instead. So I think they just wanted to have the information game so they could try and work on that. They also mentioned a backstep potentially to happen. So that's something we need to look out for. Maybe someone being able to rotate back upstairs.
Well, there's nothing that's backstabbing right now. They're still spread out and waiting and hoping. Alamau is just seeing Hat open up Vault lobby. They'll Vault the hatch. They'll sort of call this. They'll call the positions. They're getting just as much intel. And they're moving over towards the elevator. The roll down, the drop, the bees and the player inside. The Goyo canister will stop them moving around the swing, but it's Alamau that suffers against Hat inside Vault. 4 versus 5, 25 seconds though. So they still need to try and move on the back of this, and Diaz does, gets Blaz. Doki, he doesn't really know which way to look because these holes in the defense have appeared. They haven't dropped, and Diaz gets a double. They go for the first fight and can't connect it. OXG wrapped around and left the sole player. There's 1 for Loira, there's 2. Almost gets a third, but they slip their way into Garage.
Let's go!
OXG sitting on map point on their opponent's map.
Freebies, 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 let's go! Good shit.
See you until the open arrow. Okay, guys.
Let's listen to Uno. Giving out some comms, basically choosing the strategy that we're going to go for now, and it's CEO up top that we're headed for. See a bit of discussion between Alamau and Uno there, both of them basically giving their 2 cents. Like what needs to happen, what needs to improve. And it's unfortunate Alamau lost that fight. I think he used the C4 as well, but he got caught up by the pillar, so Hat was able to live. And finding the 2nd kill as a result as well. I mean, Loira just wasn't in a position anymore at that point to even do anything about it.
No.
It was just exit frags at that point.
It was a great change there. Obviously, the approach that was done beforehand by OXG, heavy pressure on towards server. They knew they got baited and wasted time, and it ticked away. And the change was to go down, switch to the other side, push down onto a coordinated drop, use the Candelas, get control of the hatches, get control of elevator, and get control of Vault. And the fact that Hat didn't need to drop to get his kill as well just makes things even more powerful, because at this point, he's free to sort of sit and watch and overwatch. You can't really sneak your way past, but again, he's not in the danger of being caught by C4. He has the high ground, and OXG played that very, very well. G2 caught entirely unaware. And now we'll see if this will continue on tat for tat, or we'll get ourselves in towards a break sooner than probably G2 expected. Again, this is a great map, but it is the same for OXG, as they said on the desk.
Yeah, for sure, and they're definitely showing here right now that G2, well, they might have wanted to come here, but that could have been a mistake. Doki's looking out the windows, just checking to see if there was any pressure coming through. Well, there might be. Hat's definitely out there. You also got to be aware of the fact that Claymores will be on the point. Kanto is going to be opened up, and that means that the Soda hallway is now suddenly going to be less likely to be safely played. Doesn't stop Loira, though, from going for a quick shoulder swing every now and then. And Yoga, whilst he's waiting down below, he wants to put up some extra pressure towards Loira by opening up vertically. Doki actually takes down Hat, who might have been around. It's a jump out to go through. And I think Doki just basically sent it. There was no Claymore to stop him. He gets himself back into the building. However, there's people on the rappel that it can basically catch him off.
They have that opening body, they have that Kali, they have that danger, and now they have Doki. Trade it out. And OXG are in a powerful position here with the removal of that loose player, that destroyer of most teams' chances of getting themselves close here. Steady control once again, fest across the site as Loira is the next to suffer a bit of a blow. Blaz tucks himself close. He can maybe try and offer a bottle to any of the control over top square as Alamau keeps a keen eye towards any player that's below him. Again, it's this adaptation game here, and he's sort of watching multiple different stories, multiple different directions, because, well, that's the pressure that was added this time, whether it was removed a bit early from OXG last time as they lost the opening 2. Pressure that they've been able to apply up towards janitors and up towards the location of the players inside the site has proved distracting for G2.
There's a worry about a potential under jump out. Loira is thinking, oh, he's forward, go for it in the meantime. Gets 1, gets 2, and basically shuts down this round.
4 versus 2, Loira, and well, he should get picked up and does. 30 seconds. Diaz and Nuez have to try and go for kills here because the kit is outside, far, far away, and they will not make it anywhere close in time. They know someone's about to head up. There's a C4 ripped and ready, I believe, to come over the top. It doesn't get the catch, but the player in the elevator will. At this point, Diaz is doing his best for a quad, but they do not have the kit. Alamau just has to survive and hide and get out of there, and they are trying desperately to find him, but he's chilling at his desk, getting his work done, and getting G2 around.
What a way to end a round like that. Loira going for a jump out, finding 2. Doki earlier on in the round went for a jump out and found 1. And then Alamau's just chilling down below as the timer ticks out. We head towards 6-5. A round away from going to overtime, and a tactical timeout now from Oxygen as well.
Winning this map could be potentially huge. And I say potentially because I'll explain in a second.
We need to be gun up, ready to punish them early round, okay? For archives, I would just say it looks like open's clear. Like we don't have to push them on head on. Like take the gaps that they're giving us. I like the butt play from below. We just gotta be.
You Blast, see, you go printer Blast, you go ATM shoot on the guy Teles because they don't go the trap, okay? So you try to go there, look at the guy, and then cover push to kill the guy Teles. Laura has the ace in electric.
Blindsiding us with the quick play. So let's just be a little bit cleaner. Let's be ready to punish. Close this fucking game. You guys fucking got this.
Let's close this bleeping game out.
Let's go.
Also, shout out production. Love that audio fade between the two. Very suave. Now, as I was saying, why is it potentially hap? Well, because the second map is a G2 permaban that has found its way through Nighthaven Labs, banned 22 times over the past 180 days.
Yeah.
It is a lockout, and how do we know how they're going to approach it? Well, OXG want to take the risk. They're thinking, well, yeah, you might have a game here, but we have a game here. We're going to bring it. There is, 1 and 2.
There was no claymores. That's the whole thing. Doki went first. There was no claymores at that point. They just could have gone for the second one. And you heard Redeemer say it as well. The windows are their only options on that top floor. So if we go back there, pay attention to that. Like, that is their only option. Otherwise, Oxygen would have had that one in the bag, potentially. 5-6, G2, their last defense in regulation before overtime hits. And it is going down to the basement. Make sure they're not getting overwhelmed again from the backside there, because that was really a big struggle. Keeper barrier, by the way, has been put on the drone hole on the outside of the exterior one, which means that the Twitch drone is not going to be able to get himself through. So that way, Goyo canisters just going to be a little bit safer, along with other pieces of utility.
Yeah, it's just coverage of it, right? It's usage of utility to stop it, but otherwise you just have to keep an eye on it and make sure they haven't planted anything there. They've prepped themselves for the top floor with their drones, though. They expect down towards the basement. They expect the hold here, and they want to make sure that they can do this job quicker, and look how much quicker that's being done. Neo's already in, open, screaming his way across. At this point, last time, I mean, they were still preparing their drones inside. Now, 45 seconds faster. And they've got that map control, which just gives them even more options to work with. The smoke is back, the Goyo canisters, the method of delay they had before, but I mean, this is so pacey from OXG.
Yeah, they're definitely getting a lot of pace here, and that's because their drones are in the right positions. They knew there was no roam on that top floor, on that ground floor, so they can just start focusing on opening things up. That is going to be a big advantage for them here. They have so much time to leverage the space that they can get and basically make G2 worry. Alongside, of course, with taking out PC utility, taking out the Goyo pockets, taking out the F-nets that might be around, just so you don't have to worry for them if you're going for an eventual execute. Loira, just waiting with a nitro cell, just chilling for someone to put some pressure onto the blue stairs. Already on 16 kills in this map.
I mean, you say already, we're in the dying
Yeah, but
throes
it's
of this
true.
map.
It's still more than a one
It's
kill per round.
5 to 6 at this point. There's not much left in it. We'll see if they can try and keep themselves going here. Now, the setup of a similar take last time round. They have themselves the Candelas and they have themselves eyes on towards the hatches itself. And as I said before, it was a huge engagement one because they didn't even need to drop for it. And this time, well, they'll get rid of the danger, the destruction, the Goyo canisters, and 45 might separate us from map 2 or OT. Still checking, still testing, still teasing the idea of a push and a swing as we start to hear the Candelas and the Grimbies pop off. It's attention on towards the hatch. A bit of a burn, but they don't actually drop behind it this time. They don't want to get themselves caught on the back end of a smoke. There goes Gomez now, following through when he realizes he's not going to get swung. The pressure on the back of Vault Hatch might be followed here behind you. Well, it's one out by Hat. And now 10 seconds. They're caught in a crossfire. Newers has to try and fight their way across. Gomez gets Alam out, but the plant needs to come through. It's a 2 versus 3 versus 2 versus 1. Doki, all that's left, just has to survive, and he can't. Newers screamed his way through, across red, across the sides, and across G2. OXG steal away G2's bank.
That was half a second away from pushing us towards overtime. They were running for their lives and find themselves with the first map locked under their belts. And now the big mystery's coming up. What is this next map, the permaban of G2, going to bring in this series?
I mean, at this point, it's just one of those mysteries that I hope that they find confidence in more than anything. OXG, smooth, calm, and collected, which is also the description of our desk. We'll be back with after a quick break.
There's something in the water here, I tell you what. Oxygen have just taken Bank away from G2 after they have been flawless thus far in this tournament.
Oh yeah, it was so impressive to see how OXG was playing off of each other. Even in man-down situations, they were constantly able to play off of each other. And most of the time in this game, they were denying G2 the ability to get that opening kill, and that was the strength of Oxygen's defenses and attacks, is they weren't giving G2 the comfortability. That's what G2 is known for on this map. They love to solo roam, they love to play alone, they love to be able to get these opening kills and then fall back into the site. But so often, OXG were able to just stall them out until G2 had to make a play, and that's where OXG bit them.
I mean, that's the beauty of how OXG's playing right now. This is the first time I think ever we're really watching this roster really set the tempo of a game. Not trying to catch up, not playing catch up. They are the one delegating of who's going to be doing what at any given moment. And I really like what they were bringing to the table here and the innovation of using that sense and using that Deimos to try to get that player out of blue. Unfortunately, it didn't work out, but I like to see that they're trying something, that they're trying to be a different, you know, team than what we've usually have seen. And I mean, they're walking away with the first map.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. The way OXG played honestly looks very selfless. I could say this confidently. This is the first time in the last few years where OXG is believing in each other. They're playing off of each other. They're not making mistakes. They have the trust in one another. They believe that they can win, and that's the most important part of this.
I mean, looking at the overall scoreboard, 2 players stick out, but realistically, this was a very fun game to watch. I will say, Loira had way too many moments.
I was just about to say, like, scrap the G2 logo, just put Loira's head right there versus Oxygen. Like, Loira, if it wasn't for Loira for a lot of these rounds, OXG probably gets this over in a 7-3, maybe a 7-2. Loira was making hero plays, and for this to be it, you're back against the wall, you just lost your saving grace of your map. All of G2 have to wake up here. Loira has to say something to these guys. Uno has to get these guys prepared because you don't have your safe card anymore. You just lost your map. You're going to be going now to Oxygen. So again, this can't all be on Loira. You don't want to lose out on this event just knowing one player was the one putting in the effort.
Yeah, Loira definitely earned his respect in that matchup, and I do think he was obviously the main reason on why it was so close. He was able to find kills, but the rest of the team were constantly getting shut down.
They certainly were. However, I will say, Oxygen are looking very good today. This is the second 2v5 that we've seen out of them, and Fox, they are looking tremendous.
Right, I mean, this 2v5 right off the bat on round 1 was so smart because you can notice G2, they have a 5v2 advantage. The smokes, they understand it's pushing them from the plant, so they go for a rush into sight. But look at Newers, he backs all the way up into Garage and waits for the flank from Diaz, who jumped up the vault hatch. Diaz gets a kill up top, and now G2 have to scramble to get into the other site. And then, again, Newers waits for his teammate to come back down. He waits. Newers waiting. That's a first. And they played this 2v2 together, and obviously, great shots from Newers. And this is the teamwork that we've been trying to put into Newers since we got him on the team. Because if he can just play off of his teammates, amazing stuff happens because he's such a great player.
Again, this is what me and you were talking about. If they can just practice their discipline on their defensive halves, they would find far better success, and there wasn't a better round to show the fact of how disciplined they were. Realistically, old OXG would be fighting that. They would have went head on. The fact that Newers falls all the way back to Garage, waits for them to push up again, it's controlling that tempo, controlling that spacing, and just overall controlling the match. So, again, you got to give it to Oxygen.
Every round was winnable, and we really saw that in that matchup. They were always focused on the goal, and they knew
they always had a plan.
Win it. They always had a plan.
Their win conditions are looking pretty good right now. If you're a G2 fan, I'm pretty sure your heart is going to be in your stomach because they are but one map away from being taken out of the Six Invitational. We head to Labs after this.
There are many great players who are not champions, who have never lifted the hammer, who might never lift the hammer. And it's not because they aren't good enough, they just might not put in what it requires to really get there. Because they are the goods and they're the greats.
There is not 1 hour of the day where your mind can be off siege. You have to sacrifice everything to win.
If you were to win any event and call it quits, it would probably be the Six Invitational.
Chegar no topo uma vez, então assim foi momento de muita emoção.
The Invitational is, the kind of the final checkpoint, the final test, and it meant the world to me.
History will be
made here because for the first time on home soil, a Brazilian team will win a world championship.
The only thing that matters is the 4 guys next to you, your coach, and the screen in front of you.
No one ever really just goes and wins. You have to go through the pain, the hardships.
Phase are exploding!
You have to go all in, that's it.
Quem perdeu foi nós tudo ali, e a gente que vai virar isso aqui agora.
Você tem que confiar muito no seu time.
Não vamos desistir, não vamos desistir.
Sakiami and brought it all the way back!
Baixa demais, porra!
When you truly want to become the best, you truly have to believe that you are, because you have to play it 100%.
From undefeated to barely winning maps in Phase 2, G2 are on the line. I can't believe I'm saying that. Europe's hope, what we thought was going to be a strong roster, has crumbled in the face of, get this, NA.
I mean, we've seen it happen before for G2, and obviously it's not going to look any better on Labs because Labs is one of OXG's favorite maps, and the way that they've been playing so far is only going to amplify that because they can get really shifty on their defenses, and their attacks are among the best of the league. And obviously, to highlight what we already highlighted in the ban phase, G2, this is one of their auto bans. They've banned it 16 times in the last year. So, could be saving strats.
And this is where it goes, yeah. In terms of saving strats is, you know, if you're going to pull Ace out, you're going to pull it out here. But now, your back is more against the wall than it was before this even started. The fact you are losing bank. So now it's a question of now, you're stuck with this. You have to make this work. You have to be able to adapt. Regardless of whatever prep that you have or that you think that you can pull out on Oxygen, it needs to be flawless here. It needs to be executed well. And again, for G2, they need to set the tempo. They need to set the pacing here. And I will say, this map is a lot tighter, so they can't really play as loose as they would like on a map like Bank, where Oxygen can take advantage of it. So I am expecting a far better trade game than what we just recently saw. And especially when you think about the graphic that I had, their opening conversions and being able to put that into their favor, this map can 100% highlight that for them.
Absolutely, and there's one thing that G2 can hold on to, and that's the fact that Loira went insane on Bank. So if the rest of the team can just follow him up, maybe we'll be able to see the tables turn.
Well, we're going to have to hope for G2 and for Europe that the tables can indeed turn. North America are looking very good at the moment. Oxygen, but one map away. We head to Labs with Fluke and Hap.
Thank you very much, Aragorn, Legolas, and Tall Gimli. We'll find ourselves pushing further and further in towards this series. G2, will they be able to bite their way back? Or I can see them working out who's who. Or will they see the end of their run here? The first time they've hit the lower bracket and then hit the ground.
Yeah, for sure. It is going to be that big question. What do they have on Labs? What does G2 bring to this game? Now, the social predictions are still in favor of G2, 54%. I mean, it's been the age-old, basically, resident Rainbow Six meme, right? G2 saving strats for SI?
G2 saving strats for SI?
It's always been the case.
G2 lower bracket run?
G2 LCQs?
G2 LCQs?
A lot of memes that go around
All of
G2.
them are coming true. And I mean, at some point, maybe you just got to be like, yeah, this is how they do it. But that last round, I think they put it very well. If there wasn't Loira playing how they set themselves up, who picked Labs, then, I mean, it would have been a much worse deficit. OXG would be set in.
Loira's be very confused if they are now being told, yes, this is your pick, and they're actually like, wait, what?
But all smiles and soon to be turned into all pressure. OXG have taken their opponent's map earlier on in the day.
Yep.
And then they doubled it down. Will they be able to repeat the same thing here? Removing Shopify Rebellion and G2. Some of the most experienced players at this tournament.
Yeah.
On their swan song from LCQs back to here. It starts, as it always does, with a pretty solid set of bans there. Monty, Blackbeard, double down on the shield. Get him gone, get him out of here. And then Tibarao and Azami.
Alrighty then. We are getting in the way after those bans. And the Tibarao, of course, is going to be making sure that, you know, those walls are going to be opening up way sooner now. There's no more stalling. We saw a little bit of that come down in that previous map. Not having that around this time. The Azami has also been pretty impactful. It was even the call made by Romalio at some point. It's like, bring Azami, make things difficult. So Oxygen basically working directly into that, deciding, you know what, you're not allowed to do that anymore. It's time to just face this, face to face. No keeper barriers to help. As we go over towards the basement, towards the tank, and it looks like we are seeing a pretty tall hold. And that's nothing too strange, because if you want to attack this site, there is, well, two ways to go at it. One would be to go directly in. We saw Liquid try that before today, didn't really work out. The other one would be to go all the way from the top, all the way to the bottom. But with all these reinforcements that have been put down, you basically force Oxygen to play every single part of the map like it is the actual site. Clear it out bit by bit by bit by bit before you can finally put pressure on the site itself. Doki wanted to go for a bit of a hello there.
Yeah, didn't quite get anything other than a goodbye though. Quickly moved away, nobody suffered any damage. It's going to be a bit sort of slower in some regards than it was before, but they're trying to draw as much tension here. Obviously on towards IT, on towards the control here. The site itself down in the basement, and there's still the connective players. Blaz is around cargo stairs. They have a route. They want to opt for it, but Loira wants the first fight. Nurse gone. Loira gets G2 off. A bit of a bang of a start. I mean, it sort of traded out of how it went last time round here. And again, there's that support structure. Now they've fallen one floor. They've slowed their approach. They've got rid of the ram as well. You're thinking about that soft.
Yeah.
That's dangerous, Hap.
Now, the first minute's been wasted. The ram is gone. The first floor still heavily populated here by G2, which is going to be making it difficult for Oxygen. There's a lot of work to do. They don't have the ability anymore to open up as much vertically. That is going to be hampering their ability to actually attack the side itself later on, so they're going to have to find a different way to go at it. Maybe more direct. One of the exothermics being used to open up the hatch is going to give them an opportunity to start focusing on the side itself. EMPs, double to be used to make sure it opens up, making sure that no K-trick could come through.
Boxy utility, pressure put on, the hatch itself done from warehouse, and, well, now they need to try and find a fight down the stairs. But look at Loira and Blaz loitering. They're waiting for this approach, waiting to be able to push themselves into maybe a 2 versus 1. Loira gets the option of also supporting anyone from billiards that might not catch them, but then the swing around the side as well. It's an exploration up, and Loira actually goes up and up. He's to the top floor, and there's a fight that Alamau loses out to Yoga. Do they know about Loira's adventure, though?
They're going to be able to hack the cams right now, and that means that all those Valkyrie cameras that have been placed by Alamau are going to be in control of the side of Oxygen as well. They're going to be aware of where these players are, and Loira will be shut down as a result of it. And there you have it. Suddenly that road just falls apart. There's 40 seconds left, though, and there's not a lot of control for the side of Oxygen on the side itself. Still a lot of work to do, but at least they have the man advantage.
That's it, and at this point, what are they going to opt for? Well, pressure on cargo stairs and the drop down the warehouse hatch seems to be the MO, and there's that hack camera, the reveal of the positions. They know exactly where the players are, and now they're going to fight against them. There it is. The impact round, the swing for one. There's two in the shooting gallery. Either side, the pressure can't quite come quick enough. And they did not have enough time and space. G2, built on the back of wasting time above, take the first.
That all started off with Loira finding that very first kill, being able to rotate down as well. A minute 10 was wasted on that top floor. After the first... the first floor still had to be cleared out as well. You lost that ram, all that verticality you would otherwise be able to bring is not going to be there, so they're free to play on the side itself. It was a little bit of a hampering, though, when they lost their cams. Those were coming into control of the attack, so information was working on their side, just that time was not. And there's G2. They take round number 1 here on Labs as they look to build onto their defense.
That is the first loss as well. I mean, both in player, but an operator. You think, how do you improve the pace of getting control of floors? Oh, well, you have to play like a ram or a buck to tear open the soft. It gave G2 more chances, more little corners they could hide and wait. And yeah, eventually, Alamau and Loira caught on the rotate up and, well, just not connecting the way OXG wanted or expected. Off to a better start than they were last time round, but be a game of impressing and a game of learning here from the side. Obviously, it was played by G2 in the quals to get here against Matchco.
Yeah.
They were able to win it out, and most of it, I think they got 3 attacks and then on to 4 defenses.
Yeah. With an impressive game from Loira. Now, you cannot really rely on that happening every single time. He was definitely showing up in the last game, that's for sure. But you basically need the rest of the team to show up as well as Loira. For a bit of an exploration there, opens up the door, quickly sprays through the window. But this is all just to basically create pressure. If there was anybody near, they would have been aware of it. And as Newer is just taking out basic pieces of information. I mean, it's not really cause for concern yet. That's just part of the course. But this top floor is bread and butter of Siege. As they're waiting for the EMPs to come around so they can start opening up towards jungle. There you have it, that's 1. There's no need for a second as Blast is not going to be tricking, and of course, even if he would, a second EMP wouldn't work.
Play against the hard wall itself, the threaded claymores on the top of the lobby stairs in the front side. They're just themselves controlled on the back. They're bringing everything that you would do slowly and steadily, kind of break your way through the ace alongside the Thatcher. Nothing should really be away from them, but look at this, the roll of the Candelas and Nurs underneath. They're trying to pinch the player out, but Loira is blinded and alive. He's able to slip himself out, and they weren't quite able to activate on the back of it. Maybe they just didn't trust the risk or think they were sort of in a decent enough position, and the roll of it for now, and it rotates elsewhere.
There needs to be pressure coming down into Warehouse, because as long as Loira is allowed to play on those mezzanines, you're not going to be able to enter from IT. Gomez, in the meantime, going over towards the E-box, is going to be able to at least put a bit of pressure onto the site. Knows that there is going to be a shotgun player quite close. This wall towards the actual site itself is going to be confirmed. The grenade will get rid of those bandit batteries that fetch you for EVs. For good measure, the Nitro Cell gets shot out, and there you have it. The wall has been breached. There's now 4 players on this site, though, trying to, well, basically work that pillar into a plant.
Well rehearsed to take down that C4, but 10 players standing and less than a minute. It is going to get wild in this final close down. Alamau gets the first, and once again, Nurse is knocked out of the round before it can really come to blows. Loira partially blinded, and Uno holding on ready and steady to rock and roll. Swings wide on towards Gomez, outside of the walkway breach, and Loira wants to double dip, and does. Finds one as Uno punctuates his point. And a flawless from G2.
Exactly what I said. They're doing exactly what I said. So we know everything they do.
Uno has read them like a book.
I love the wow. Who is the wow?
I don't know. But I said it before, they need to put that pressure on Loira. He's been playing around inside of Mezzanine, inside of Warehouse for free. There's been absolutely no pressure to come through. And as long as they allow him to just do that, I mean, IT, you're not going to be able to walk through that freely. He's just going to be able to swing by that door. And if you then have 4 people coming in from the jungle side of the map, and you just have that breach, but there's shotguns watching either side of it, you're also not going to go in. You needed that extra whiff. They didn't show it. And as a result, G2, they're just able to basically shut them down. Great flick there from Alamau. Like, he's supposed to die in that position because the drop was definitely on him. Not sure how that buckshot missed the very first shot, but that's frustration there. It's like,
It is. I mean, you know, it's the weird moment here of how much pressure is on this point. They've been able to get 2 kills over 2 rounds, both of them on the first, and you're against unknown sort of territory, but you are attacking labs. You are going to struggle more in your attack, even if, as you are statistically one of the best attacking teams, you know, you're working things out as you go. You're piecing things together. Who knows how much is how those words are supposed to go. Over their game they showed when they were playing against Matchco, right? You can get data and can get ideas from those situations, but when they're playing against sort of T2, T3 teams,
it's a different game.
It's a different game.
And of course, fundamentals and basics are going to be playing into that as IT will be opened up. There's no challenge whatsoever. Doki's not even going to try and attempt tricking it. Warehouse being opened up as well with the sledge out there is going to provide a little bit of extra opportunity as well. But Loira up above is going to be a menace. He has been a menace in these last 2 rounds. Basically, the sole reason why, you know, they lost that much time in the very first, and then still being around on the second on mezzanines, not being hunted down, finds those kills. So they really need to work on him. They need to isolate him. He is all alone, just has a hatch to drop down on. You just need to put the pressure on.
He is holding onto the vertical, and yeah, not for very long. Alamau does find Gomez. The entry statistic, 3 for 3 for G2 at this point, and well, they lose the sledge. Again, the same problems the last time. They lost the soft destruct. There's a lot of soft destruct that needs to be done, and now, well, what are they going to utilize? The Selmas, the breaching charges, the exothermics, really going to net the same results. Another attempted throw with the C4 doesn't get anything, but there is still one more in the pocket of Doki. So they have at least one more opportunity. Doki himself on cargo. There's some pressure here on towards the window, the long watch, and Yoga hasn't been given engagement yet, but he needs to make sure that he can, if he doesn't get a kill here, survive for as long as possible. Nua's opening up inside Warehouse. It's usually the entry death, but as Blaz slips their way through, does damage, doesn't see the cover of Hat. Second Hat. Great take, and he might have shown some frustrations after round 1 and 2, but he is getting them out of his system on the third. 45 seconds, and they get themselves in for an execute.
Great opener from him, indeed, finding themselves with those 2 kills. Unado strikes back before Yoga finds one, and suddenly the kid is down cold now. 30 seconds. G2 just need to chill at this point. They know that the diffuser needs to be picked up, and Alamau will go down. It's only up to Uno now in that 1v2.
Well, he's deep, and they've been able to get themselves around the side. They're probably going to tuck plant close to the right-hand side. That's where Yoga has gone, so there's a single body of cover, and Well, Uno's going to go on the rotate round towards Cargo, try and stop the plant. He's a little bit too late, but he can't get Diaz either.
Round by round, let's go. Good fucking shit. Come on.
Some motivational speech to come through, but Hat really saving the round out there. I mean, Blaz was a bit too focused on Newers, missed the first opportunity, saw he was getting shot up from the staircase, but decided to just press on, not really try and go for the second attempt, because he also knows as soon as he swaps over to the staircase, hey, look at that, the one on the crate is going to start to go for the re-swing. Hope to at least take one of that fight. Lost, sadly. And then Loira just picked up instantly afterwards, but Hat as well. Boom, sights open. Oxygen has the opportunity to go for the plant. Did that as well, and they played it perfectly from the moment that they managed to get that man advantage to go their way. So Newers there, very worried about that castle barricade. Thought they might have been ripping that one open. Just good pre-fires to come through time and time again, and just reading the situation. They knew Uno was going to rotate around. They move in their cover as well to make sure that there's nothing that could go wrong at that point.
XG, they take the tertiary, and that's still par for the course, round by round, but this is the one I'm most curious about, because now we'll get that direct opportunity for response. They seemingly, and I'll wait until they lock it in before I lock in what I'm going to say, but have pretty much the same lineup as they did the last time they were here. The IQ is the consistent change that they've sort of brought in since that first round went away from them. Not playing with Thatcher, not going to see if they can try and, you know, play the long game against the hard walls, because to be honest, it didn't really come down to that, did it? They lost themselves in these loose engagements, the intel game. I mean, there's a preparation and he doesn't get the end of it. A lot of damage and Gomez stuck, but Doki, he doesn't win the fight. Gomez knew the position, knew the risk, saved by the fact it was a solo push and quick reactions to move off of the impacted castle. The C4 on the drone player. Hat, a response.
If you saw his camera, he's been getting such frustrating deaths as well, but Loira aggressive, and this is exactly the game. This is what Uno said, right? Like, he knows exactly what they're gonna do to try and lean into it as Loira finds himself another kill whilst being hot drone. Yeah, I mean, they know that they're upstairs, they know they have to take him down, but he's just not giving up, and he's having an incredible game.
Alamau's here for support as well. He's inside the connector, watching and waiting, and he can take the hatch drop, but he doesn't want it because Blaz is also here. That was from underneath. They have just walked into an absolute blind trap.
Let's go, boys. Bro, my play didn't work. What the fuck? You know what? In the castle and I impacted, wasn't it? Fuck me.
My play
didn't work.
Okay.
I feel like at this point we're trying to be too perfect. Like, I feel like we just need to get some info and just like collapse on some of these roamers. Like, let's just get some picks. Like, we're losing the entry engagements almost every single fight, and there's no trades afterwards. Like, the second one of us dies, there's no trades. Like, I think we just need to like don't chalk our game plan, but we're so easy to read. They know exactly where to fight. We don't have enough bodies for the trade. So if we win the trade game, we win the opening kills, we're gonna have success. They're gonna give you the picks because they're gonna keep flying. You see what I'm saying?
I think we just played the opening in the garage.
Yes.
Freak out.
Fast. Like, we're going too slow, it's too easy to read, and they're capitalizing on it. You guys got it?
Well, tactical timeout happened. Of course, G2 are showing they have a labs, but it is a lot of counterplay as well to come through. Uno said it. You know exactly what they're going to do. They're playing into that. They're trying to abuse these kind of situations. And what do? I'm sorry for laughing there, Doki. I'm very sorry your play didn't work.
His play didn't work. His play did not work. That was the blast kill from underneath.
Loira is an absolute demon right now. I mean, there's no two ways to go about it. He's been doing incredible so far on the series. He dropped 16 kills on the very first map. He's finding himself on 6 right now after 4. He is stepping up huge.
He's also dropping some pretty cold lines in the ult chat that you guys aren't seeing at home. But
Do I need to say it again? I don't know what he said before.
Well, no, that was the follow-up after round 2. He said, "Why are you trying to kill me?"
Oh, true. Yeah, he's like, "You're still trying to kill me?"
Yeah. He said, "Do I need to say it again?" I mean, fair enough at this point. continuing his performance from the previous map. In the meantime, obviously, we had a lot of big clutch plays and a lot of big moments from OXG, and they are on their attack, and it is awkward, and they're working things out, and they've used their timeout. As Redeemer sort of said, look, you're overcomplicating things. At this point, you're sort of trying to do all of this. That's not really how we play. That's not how we operate, and especially, that's not how you should operate against G2. But what they take to heart will be the split. They've got the breach open, then they've quickly rotated themselves around. No counterplay against it from the side of G2.
Up to that 3-1 scoreline, openings being made over the top floor. See jungle now being gained access to for the side of Oxygen. They have drones inside as well, so it's going to be aware that it's going to be clear. However, look at Blast. He's going to go for a bit of a flank out there. Jumps down instantly afterwards as he taken down 2 drones. And now he's an unknown factor. Hey, there is a roamer we have to worry about that could be coming up from the blue side at any given point. If we decide to push out there, I think LMAO is also finding himself on like a different kind of staircase. So Oxygen, there's a lot of work that they need to do. I mean, last time I said it, if you want to go in from IT, you got to put some pressure onto Warehouse. You got to put some pressure onto the mezzanines. They failed to do that. This time, they have a way to deal with it, though. They're sending in the firebolts. I'm not sure why you're staying around that long, Lawyer. He's just watching the magnet going off, and the fire spawns underneath him, but he manages to get out. Blast on 1 HP as well. There's definitely some improvements happening here from Oxygen.
Now the blinds come across. Blaz massively hurt, but still standing. That's that problem, Hat. He's proposed himself aggressively, watching and waiting for support to come round the corner, and not going to give them that engagement. It is all very much a centered push around Warehouse right now, and with a minute, you're wondering if they might try and rotate, put some pressure elsewhere. The C4 ready to make friends with somebody close by, but it just gets the down. Should be able to collect it, but they won't get those bodies. There's Hat. Baited the play. News goes down at the same time. Now Diaz is on the ground. They pulled themselves away from the smoke. Not confirmed, but as Gomez goes, they've got to quickly go and get Diaz back up. Keep the pressure on. Look at the health of G2.
It's not a lot. Blast finding himself on 1. LMAO, maybe 5. Doki, the only one that is considered to be a bit healthy here. Finding himself in a great corner, though. If they want to push in, they're all coming in from the IT direction here. They have a great opportunity to do so. Newer stuck in a goo mine's going to be hurt. He's rotating back out the building, going over towards the blue side stairs, hoping to put a bit of pressure on. They know Doki's in that corner. They're going for the challenge, not quite connecting. They need to go there. There's 10 seconds left, and as Diaz finds 1, LMAO trades, leaving it only up to Blast. He's about on 1 HP. He needs to find 2, but he won't. Newers is going to shut it down, and Oxygen to find their second round.
Let's go, that's it. Good fucking shit. Focus up, you're good, you're good, you're good. You're good. Let's go, good shit.
This round, bro, just do something different.
Good energy, good vibes, good improvements here from OXG. They've gotten the 2 I said you're probably angling for and opening for.
I did like to see that they brought the Capital. Like I said it before, they needed to take care of mezzanines. They needed to take care of Warehouse. They failed to do that in the first iteration when they were going for command. This time around, they brought the Capital. They fired it right on that mezzanine where Loy was playing, forced him back towards the site. Of course, it was still a scrappy fight in the end, but at least that allowed them to take control of IT, take control of Warehouse, and at that point start putting pressure onto the actual site itself rather than being ran around on by one of those G2 players. And that gives them a way cleaner opportunity to take a round like that.
Now, that clip was muted, but I think that was a very clear lip read. Let's bleep and go, baby.
Yeah, this is something, let's go something.
Yeah, I got that one pretty clear. 3-2 OXG. Now, what will they be able to push home here is G2. They're obviously not opting to go back towards command. Whatever they thought fell apart there, and to be honest, it got a bit scrappy, got a bit back and forth. They don't think it's a comfortable sort of return towards that position. Instead, on towards the site below, on towards the other site that they've lost control.
Yeah, but I think he can turn that down to maybe Blaz overstaying his welcome a little bit. He was trying to take the fight onto Newers, got himself picked up, and it really led into Hat finding a double kill and suddenly the site opening up. So if they can slow this down a little bit more, maybe play a bit more into the disruptive kind ofness without really taking the fight. You see IT in the meantime already being opened by the way. then you might have a good opportunity here. I mean, they're playing around on this top floor first. Logical. You want to get that verticality, want to get that pressure down. Allows you to clear these sites from above without actually having to enter it, giving you a bit more freedom trying to get the plant down later as Loira. I don't understand, like, the guts he has. He's just taking any fight he's fighting. He's like, oh, the wall's been opened up. Let me just go check if I can find a kill.
Oh, well, look out what's coming. The blitz is there. Alamau with the C4 potentially from underneath will get one. Gomez gone. The second C4 and a blitz that's being hot-pinged and panicking. Back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. The blitz will go. That C4 will not catch them. You can see the fear that sort of made its way across the layer of smoke here. Yoga, they're cutting their way down towards Cargo. Had is the one, obviously, with the kit. They're going to see if maybe they can sort of get this vertical control they've got. If they can force out Loira from the bottom, strong arm their way in from the Cargo side, a bit close towards the plant they had, because last time it got a bit sort of touch and go on the warehouse side. And even though they're holding on towards the rafters for now, actually, I say this, they're reevaluating the take. They're maybe thinking, let's not go against Loira.
There's so much information on the side of Oxygen. G2 knows exactly where all of them are, as Loira does finally get shut down. The one thing I'm worrying about, though, is they have Newers on the IQ, yet they're not finding these Valkyrie cameras that are giving away the opportunity. Alamau, in the meantime, rotated up, takes down a flank throw, gives away his position in that case, and you already see some movements up top, but he's also getting the information. But my question is, why did Newers not take down these Valkyrie cameras?
Yoga gets Doki and News goes for the fight outside. Blaz finds Hat. And, well, who's going to win this showdown? There's Alamau looking through the floor and he pre-fires either side. News round the back. They are so close to this engagement, but it's Alamau's to win. G2. They secure themselves the 4-2. But it is definitely a lot more competitive than when this map started. And now we have that fabled turn of the half. Can G2 turn this into a third map?
They're definitely looking to make it happen. But onto the attack. Managed to win 3 in their game in the basically LCQ qualifiers against a European Tier 2 team. But they're talking about the fact that they know what is going to be done. They are countering the plays that are being set up. Oxygen on the defense now. Wonderful C4. And also just the like psychological warfare after someone just got blown up and just red pinging. It's like, we know where you are. We have another C4. Keep running.
These narrow sort of fights there. Blaz, he had the lockdown, the revenge against the Glaz that got Doki a second before. And it's turning into bloody brawls here, and this is the other side of it, right? This is now why we almost also get to see why it was let through, because OXG, yes, you pick into your opponent's missed maps, their ban maps. If a map appears in a map ban possibility, especially if it's a permaban, well, it's there for a reason. It's there almost as bait to sort of say...
So I would be way too mistrusting to do map bans. I'm going to be like, wait, this map is up. They usually ban it. Why is it up? Why is this one left up?
But then, at the same time, even if you're playing that role, you know, OXG aren't going to pick into it unless they have a game. And that is going to be demonstrated more than anywhere here on this second half, regardless of the fact that they have been great on attack. You know, you're playing your map now. You're playing your side of your map. They can get these opening 2 and it's all tied up. That puts a huge amount of pressure. Henry in mind will force Loira further back. He has the long watch there from Blaz, just keeping him a bit safe, but nothing immediately can trick against this.
And instantly send in the Twitch drone, take out some of the utility, wants to take care of the bulletproof, didn't quite get it. I mean, Newers is now playing on a position where we saw Loira play earlier on. There needs to be some pressure coming out onto the mezzanines, onto warehouse. Otherwise, Newers is just going to be shutting down any piece of utility that's going through. Just walks by and Loira goes for the pre-fire, finds that kill, and well, that's one way to deal with warehouse.
Head removed, and Newers removed again. That makes things a bit trickier, obviously, not having a player like Newers stepping up at the same level that you sort of want and desire. But now, can G2 turn this into a bit more of an advantage as a player, just sort of lurking and skulking around blue? It's Hat ready to pop up, and Alamau's ready to try and pop in behind them. That'll be the reveal of we're behind you. He'll hear the wall potentially open, and he's just going to opt to get out of there before it becomes an entire surround.
Alamau playing around on that Nuck is just going to try and sneak around. And G2 currently, they have opened up their breaches. They have the control that they need. They're just trying to find an extra opening to work with here. And Alamau is going to be key for that. He's going to play around on that Nuck, trying to find himself inserted into the backline. And if he finds a kill for, but it's instead Doki to fight through, definitely the opening is there for G2 now to keep pulling the trigger.
5 to 1 to 4, but still, when you have all of G2 charging at you.
Let's go, Doki!
Let's go, bro. That's so good.
Guys. Next round, when they do this, they're gonna bring the Cade and Bandit. I'm gonna play the Bleach, so we need open the walls and we take Akko with the Bleach. Okay, bro? Okay. Little adaptation.
Careful because they don't play the out.
I have bad news for their approach, which you'll all see in a second. No Bandit, no Cade. But they'll see that and they'll adapt to it.
Or they don't, and they'll just have a Thatcher to work with, you know.
Yeah. I mean, Thatcher just got 2 kills, Doki.
Yeah.
Swung himself either side. Great transfer.
Guys, let's go, guys!
Fuck off,
guys, bro!
Fucking go!
Let's go, Doki!
Let's go, bro. The prep is so good. The prep is so good.
The prep is so good. That is a credit to the coaching staff, the analyst staff, like every bit of support staff they have. It's like they are completely ready for whatever is being brought by the side of Oxygen. And I mean, it's good to see that being set on stream like that as well. There's such a big effort from the analyst staff helping them win a map like this. Because the first one definitely went away from them like worse than they actually wanted it to go.
Oh yeah, the first, they expected, based on this, for this to be a 2-0.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, they thought, let's bring it out against this team. We know how they play. We can shut it down. Let's make this a quick day at the office. Still, it shows that, I mean, they have done some great counter prep here. It's one of the things and sort of compliments towards the specific stuff around G2 is that Romalio will sort of focus on that counter prep, that sort of response to strategies, and this is it, just paying out in dividends. Instantly forced all the way. Doki.
Hello, Doki.
Getting aggro all the way down. Exo hot droned in. Now there's a player above, but if he can get a kill, look at how spread out. OXG. Oh, there's one. A freebie on the back. He looks for the second, but Uno tried to blindside their way in. A huge fight, and Doki can't win it out. Gomez, if he can get this, he probably wins the round for the team. They're flying their way back in. A 2 versus 3. Alamau and Loira either side of the fight itself, but Gomez looking down behind the cloning station keeps OXG's hopes alive this round, keeps them off map point. That one engagement filters away. There'd probably be an attempt at a plant, and already things falling a bit away now. A lot of time. Spread out approach. He's about to find maybe his first fight. It's Yoga though, and he's a bit comfortable. Gomez is actually going to go for a rotate round and now towards the door. Loira opening up the roof, the ceiling above. Look where the kid is though.
A lot of areas here that he can just start cutting through. There's no one playing on contact. They're all removed from one another. And Alamau is kind of just thinking like, where can I go? I mean, he's activated the gadget, not being seen by the bulletproof camera. And as the drone is now trying to get some information, okay, they know that part of the map is clear. He can start pushing up. Hey, look, someone's rotating up the staircase. And that gives Alamau the opportunity to basically start hunting on the sides. But Laura goes down.
That leaves just Alamau, and, well, he gets revenge on Gomez, but Gomez can take a rest with his heroic efforts on this site and this hold already. A player above and a player directly on the kit. At this point, he's fighting into a dead end. And a well-watched one at that.
Fucking round. We got this. We got this. Let's go.
Sure, bro, come on.
Come on. Go.
Fucking better than these guys.
Oxygen not as energetic as they usually are. It is the coach currently just trying to get that motivation going. He's like, we got this, we got that round, we can get these guys.
Now they're gonna go on the storage. If they have the same with the Bandit, Gomez, we do what I say, okay?
Una said now they're gonna go storage. And they're indeed going storage. Again, like, I don't know, like Udo just got a novel from the analyst last night. It's like, this is the entirety, everything on labs. have fun. And he's just been reading it like a bedtime story.
He's
like, wow, this is so great.
You know how like F1 drivers will get in a bathtub and go like left corner, right corner,
Yeah,
left corner,
you know.
and memorize the track?
Exactly. No, it's just Uno now.
That's just Uno with their hole to like pretend he's running around the building. Say, reinforcement, Banshee, to, I see it all. I see the Legion. I see the Bandit.
It's gonna be playing in this corner, you know, a pixel like this pixel, this height. I could get him from like the 5th plank if I shoot through the floor, just stuff like that. But I mean, it is amazing to see and actually like listening as well, because usually, you know, when you're playing online, you don't have these comms. So you don't know, of course, if this is like a 100% counterplay or if it's just the game working. But we're definitely getting that confirmation now that they're completely countering Oxygen. Everything they're doing is just to work into the game of Oxygen. And to some point, that is a huge props as well to Oxygen, that is the game that's being played against them. Like, it is acknowledged, it is good. There's specific counters for them here.
Alamau once again trying to just drive himself up, but the Banshee will give the game away regardless of who you're playing. So Yoga just has to make sure he doesn't accidentally back into an engagement, and oh, instead he walks right into it. Didn't back, full forward and full face of bullets. Alamau, the Nook, gets the opener. Now he's in cargo and he's a bit concerned because, well, if the close down comes from them at this point, he'll be absolutely caught out. It doesn't seem like they want to react. They're not being responsive towards the fight or aggression here. OXG don't quite entirely know how to approach this. And look at this free real estate they've got. This is a lot of faith from OXG in their vertical.
There's going to be absolutely like no pressure coming out from the top 4 except for maybe Blaz. I mean, they've opened up IT. They've opened up... No, they haven't actually opened up into jungle yet. So it's just IT where the pressure is going to be coming down. And indeed, they're going to be working on that verticality. Alamau is going to be starting to put some pressure on. Makes his position know as Doki starts flooding the side with the rest of G2.
They're in. They're going for the plant. And they're just like, oh, you have vertical? So do we. Newers and Hat do get one apiece. But a post-plant situation as Blaz takes that vertical right back. Caught out. Hopping in, and now Hat on the wrong side of his own soft. Gets a freebie. Is he going to try and confirm it, though? I mean, Doki is just watching this from above. It's technically a 1 versus 1. Doki's not going to risk the pick back up at this point because, well, he knows he can't make it. The C4. Oh, it's bait. Luring him in. And missing him. 15 seconds. There's the spray, and I guess it! And he might have been frustrated at the start of the round in the cams, but that sure put a smile on his face.
Oh my God, man.
What a clutch! That just came down from Hat.
Let's go.
He was playing it perfectly. He was rotating around, caught one off guard, outside. He was trying to get himself in position. He played that Nitrocell smart. Tried to use it as bait to find the confirm. Didn't quite find it, but Doki hopped in anyway. Found the vertical right afterwards.
I've seen.
No, stop, please.
I've seen every single screen on
It's bullying Doki now for the fact he lost that gunfight.
He lost that gunfight, but I mean, a couple others are probably worse. The Blaz hop in here.
Yeah.
An easy pickup for Hat, and then this one was just obviously unaware of where Hat was and the position he wanted to be in. Full credit on Hat.
I mean, he was fluid. He was moving around. There was no drones. I had no clue where he was. Otherwise, Blast would...
Okay, that was a pretty basic one. I wanted to hear it, but it was just...
vanilla, you know?
Yeah.
Wasn't that much to it. But, I mean, otherwise, Blast wouldn't have jumped in if they knew where he was. You wouldn't have seen the white rotate from the outside. Like, they would have holed, like, the breach that was made inside the garage. Instead, like, Doki did the best he could with the situation he was in at that point. He tried to hold verticality, but due to the fact that they lost his teammates, well, there's not much more he could have done. 5-4, G2. It's starting to edge a bit closer towards Oxygen bringing back the game on their own map right here. They're starting to work, starting to basically respond as well as Alamau, again, just creeps in. Top of mezzanines, inside a warehouse. Gonna see if he can find one off guard again. And the pressure is gonna come down onto IT wall. You see there, Loira and Blast both around. Doki as well with the Thatcher. They want to go for a breach. But what are they doing? It's baiting Gomez to go for a bait. But he didn't bite. Wall's been opened up.
Is Alamau just going to swing on a wall here and get a kill? He's been pretty good at this before, but it doesn't look itself out. And Well, there's the premonition, but that was a double stack, Yoga. I don't know if that was right place, right time, but it's definitely something that's opted itself well for OXG these past 2 rounds. Now, they do not have that opening statistic, do not have that going in their favor. A consistent part of their approach. Only twice on this map before now have OXG been able to get that opener. That is their 3rd.
Opening still coming through to Loira, finding himself inside of IT to try and up the pressure a little bit, but there's nothing coming down from the side of jungle. That is staying close. Uno now going into mezzanines as well. Shots are being exchanged as Loira finds yet another, but the trades just keep coming through. This is a one-dimensional push coming in, Emmy.
I mean, that's it. Directly in towards IT. A 4 versus 3 at this point. Nope, make that a 4 versus 2. As there's an easy swing round against Blaz now. They've pulled themselves back. OXG repositioned themselves brilliantly to just allow this execute. Everything is now, oh, you are probably going to enter here, so we've taken a step back, and the man with the premonitions.
Let's go!
Didn't see that coming. 5 to 5.
Come on, let's go.
Now it's starting to get a little bit dicey here for the side of G2. They had some good momentum going, but Oxygen is starting to read into basically their holds being taken under control, and thus a timeout will be called. Hermaio has a bit of an opportunity now to start discussing, like, hey, this is where it's going wrong. We need to improve on that. Elamau, I mean, he just lost the gunfight there, had a right ID. He saw the shotgun, the bailiff was being used to open up the rotation a little bit more. There's only 5 shots in that. Doesn't do a lot of damage, so he really had a good opportunity to try and get that kill secured. However, didn't know there was a second player right behind him that somehow was watching that rotation as well. Lost it on the back of it, and then there wasn't enough width. They didn't have blue stairs under control. They didn't have anything coming in from jungle. You're all going to be coming in from the same doorway at that moment in time. And of course, Oxygen is going to be able to hold on to that.
Let's go, guys. Let's fucking go. Passion, passion, energy, passion and energy, guys.
Let's go. Yeah. Let's go, baby. Come on, let's go. Let's fucking go. Let's go.
The rotate of 3 sites finds us back towards tank and assembly, where it was almost made into a 6-2, and yet here we are all leveled up. Viewers obviously, you know, I don't know how aware he was of the push and the rotation. From that point onwards, when they had the man advantage, OXG played that so well, pulled back, let them peer into the soul of a hold.
And that might just be the fact that, you know, Elamau, he's been sneaking around for basically the entire attack. He's been trying to get like a backstab in, left, right, and center, and at some point it's like, okay, well, he's been here, he's been there. Where has he been yet? Oh, the mezzanines. Maybe he's going to be coming to creep up there. I'm not sure if they had any other information, knowing that he was already on there, just waiting for him to actually go for it. I don't think it was an actual bait when they brought out the bailiff to open up the rotation a little bit more, trying to get him in, but, I mean, they were definitely ready for it. How much of that was intentional, how much of it was not, we'll not know until much afterwards. Uno on that blitz might bring a little bit of pace. Of course, we are down in the basement, or down in tank. There's a lot that needs to be done. Top floor needs to be taken under control if you want to go for a top down. And I believe that Hat is currently one of the few roamers together with Yoga that is playing around that area. Okay, Hat is on the first floor, Yoga's up top. Uno down, what did that happen?
And a C4 to finish them out. That was out of kitchen window.
Is that 2 C4s? No,
I think
one.
Whatever got the down was him waiting on kitchen window. They follow it with a C4, and what a way to open it. We heard them discussing, I've got your kitchen window. Yeah, apparently they do. Now, from the side of reception, the lobby, Doki's found his way in, but Loira goes silently. Another player lost in the night, and Yoga holds on to the top floor, holds on to this position of power, and at this point, G2 on this basement attack, on this basement approach, things are falling away from them. They cannot find a single bit of joy anywhere here.
Nothing is being given to them. And as another one falls, it's Doki and Blast trying to stop Oxygen from reaching map and series point. Doki finding Newers, opens it up. Blast almost finding himself with a second. as the time keeps on ticking down. I mean, there is no control. This is basically just a kill game that G2 has to play out for the rest of this round.
Trying to tiptoe their way around the danger and find one of these loose players. The pings are there and they get it encircled with a minute, but it is still a 3 versus 2 and there's still Yoga on the top floor. And they are just as aware, the pressure on towards EXO. They move in on the hatch itself. Blaz suffers. Doki's found a fight elsewhere. It's 2-1 versus 1s. If Yoga makes the move, then suddenly they can tip that balance. But there is Blaz getting one, and there's that vertical. Blaz inside. They need to try and look out this fight here. There's Doki, can't make it to trade out OXG.
One more fucking round, let's go. One clean round. We're good, we're good, we're good.
Bro, I couldn't.
No, stop.
You could hear that there from the side of OXG, a little bit of a I couldn't complaints conversation, but then that is it, the voice that cuts through. Leave it, we won one more round, OXG, and you get to knock out once Hammerlifters G2 after you knocked out other Hammerlifters earlier on in the day. And what a run today will be, one that will probably stick in their memory for a long, long time. G2, they are only 1 round away from overtime as well, but it has now been 4 in a row that have escaped them. They were 5-2 up.
They were 5-2 up, but then Oxygen remembered, hey, this is our map. You might be countering some of those plays, but we know how we play. And you know we can stop that. We just start playing a little bit differently. And they start bringing it back in. And they start anticipating these kind of pushes to come through and punish them.
Let's go. One clean round.
And indeed, one more round. And Oxygen, they progress to tomorrow. A game away from making it to main stage at that point. It's what they're going to be looking for. This one qualified them, the next one would. And G2 would go home. And after their group stages, who would have imagined that? Well, warehouse pressure instantly coming down. Blaz now waiting to open up IT as well. They're working on the basics. An S-charge used to get rid of the electrification, and the width is being created. They're trying to make sure that that top floor is falling into G2's hands. And the question is there any flanks going on? Well, you see Doki's on the opposite side of the map, playing around with that Bravo. He's going to try and see what he can get done from there. Alamau's down below, using a shotgun with that buck, seeing if he can get any vertical pressure down. He gets the ping. Does he know that the player is there? No, just missed it slightly. And Diaz rotating out of existence.
Yeah, he sprints his way to a slightly safer pocket, but he knows that they're watching. Doki, he pops himself an angle, doesn't get a netted reward again. Oxygen, they're happy to give them this space. They're happy to sort of say, yeah, you can have that sort of byline around the back, but our vertical is our game. You've got to force your way through. It was close. It was a huge clutch. Oh, they came together, and 2 stories almost net Alamau. Another kill here, but Yoga and Newers both still alive. Diaz ready. So G2, so he thinks better of it. I mean, the longer he can sit here, the longer he's a problem. There's these crossfires and angles. Think how many people are currently operating from G2 to get this single kill, and they just can't get him pinned down. Blaz just hops in, goes for the plant, secured some cover, and Alamau making the second stick. Uno watching for the doors, waiting, but Alamau has gone down below. There's Uno getting one. Hat finishes them off. 4 versus 2, and the C4 goes, but they do get down at the same second. If that can be called and confirmed, it would leave just Hat. When has he been in this situation before? How about the last time he clutched it out? Everything to do here and a lot less to do it with. They are well aware of Hat's position. The first fight takes a lot out of him. The second is the end, and we are in OT.
Don't give up on the shit, guys. Let's fucking go, bro.
The fact they opened up IT was the reason they could go for that plant. But Diaz, he stayed alive so long. He quite literally wasted 2 minutes on that side, just staying alive, dodging Alamau, dodging shots from the window, dodging grenades being tossed in, staying alive as long as he could. but at some point it was too big. Two people jumped in from the window. Because IT was open up, they knew no one was going to be able to play around there. They secured that kill, instantly go for that plant. You see the cover coming out quite big, and of course Alamau being taken down as they retake the ground floor, but that put Hat into a difficult position, all alone, having to hold it off there. And overtime, indeed, upon us. And Alamau saying, don't give up. Because they still have the opportunity here. It's 3 rounds now.
3 rounds.
And they're playing on the attack still. They know exactly how these holds work. Although I must say that the defenses looked a bit stronger from G2 because they knew exactly where Oxygen were entering from. And that was a big part of their game. Just finding the initial fights because they knew which window, which wall was going to be opened up first. They played aggressive on that area. Loira being alive for such a long time, just wasting all that time, permitted them to continue.
So far, throughout their run in this tournament, OXG have been in OT twice, and they have won them both earlier today. G2 haven't actually been in OT yet throughout this tournament, throughout this sort of showdown, so this could be them trying to set their own stats or have those fall away, as well as their chance at another lower bracket heroic run. Loira, the man, the myth, the demon, getting his eyes across IT. They're shepherding some control here and hoping to drone and catch a castle. Yoga, who's been great in these power positions. They've opted for the basement hold again. G2's gone with a couple of different approaches here. They've hopped in and swung their way around. News almost suffers, and that is underneath in Warehouse. Alamau is the next to take a chunk out of his health, and you can see that they're trying to work out where they want to offer the support. The hop out doesn't net them anything, but it's watched by Uno. Well, he said he had his predictions right, and that's one well played. The blitz goes down. Hat gets almost 2. Doki is on a sliver of health, but survives.
Has to be careful for these goo mines, but the 2-minute advantage is there now. Doki scores, still the gun up fighting, but now they can start working towards the site. They need to go down yet another floor, but there's still roamers around. All of them, basically, currently playing around staircases, still playing around on that very first floor, trying to make life difficult here for G2. And as these drones are rolling through, they're trying to confirm where these players are actually located at. Well, the first one being spotted now, but you instantly see the rotation coming back from cargo stairs. Newer's not wanting to stick around. He's low HP as well, doesn't have the ability to continue sticking around. And as his castle barricade is actually not getting destroyed, still chooses to defend the site itself.
Less than a minute at this point. They have the 4 versus 3, but 3 of the players on the lobby are probably only really a bullet away, with Plaz not having a huge amount of his own. It's gonna come down to that first engagement, that first trade, that lockdown position. You can see Blaz trying to get that extra space here as they go for the drop on the hatch. They're going towards the default plant on the wall. There's another Goyo canister popped in this situation. They're trying to open up angles above. It's a bit of a spread hold here, and the plant's being secured. They're well aware of it. Are they going to try and get the cover? The C4 is good. 3 against 3, and they're just going to pick up immediately. And again, trust the cover. It's going to be a very important swing, but Yoga gets the plant at 9 seconds and a 2 versus 2. They have to scream their way in towards this engagement. Can they keep their player protected? No is the answer, but he can't find the last. As close as it could be.
Good shit. Good shit. Let's go. Come on. Good shit, Diaz. Let's go, Hat. Good fucking shit. Let's go. Let's go. 1 round. 1 fucking round. We got this.
The cover just off slightly. And the plan being denied up to 3 times in that round. G2 finding themselves yet again down a round. Map and series points are here for Oxygen. G2, the plane tickets are currently in the basket. They could be purchased any moment now. They just need to make sure that the map 3 is going to go on the way. This run out, he heard the impact, and Uno was in a perfect position. Like, he was playing on that rooftop, he could hold the IT wall from there, he could also respond in case one of those run-outs came through. The nerves are really getting to him every single time he dies. You just like see him go through like a roller coaster of emotions. And it just shows you how much this means to them. Again, it was mentioned for 2 years, this roster, this organization hasn't been at the Grand Stage, hasn't been at an event at all. So they're giving it their all. This means so much to them. And G2, they went for a pick that they could counter, but find themselves mapping series point behind after losing their own map. Well, at least they're on the defense now. They have the opportunity to bring this back to 7-7. But Oxygen has seen all these sides happen already, and there's been some time over this. They've had a technical timeout even in the meantime, so they could have had the opportunity to discuss, to specifically say, if we go to overtime, this is how to attack their defenses.
Taking a page out of, well, a bit to their own and a mix of their opponents. They played the Blitz once before. It was Hat. Didn't operate really, but they've seen it so consistently from the side of G2. They're thinking, well, let's see if we can give it another go for our chance here to drive ourselves towards tank and assembly, towards the basement. The mute jammers, the position up top. They want to try and catch out, I assume, Loira, who plays that top floor position as well as his namesake suggests. That C4 doesn't get the catch, but there's a watch here on Vending Window. If they get too close, well, they sort of pre-fire a shot across the bow to say, look, we know you're there. They actually drop their way out towards Kitchen. They're not going to go directly towards Loira, but if they get control of this space, then they cut off Loira's rotated out via the hatch.
I mean, Oxygen is just trying to get the information here early. The punch to win, and the Nitro Cell comes out. It's like, okay, there's still one in Kitchen. Let's start working on this. With those track stingers, they're stopping some of the rotations as well and deciding to just go for the first floor instead of taking that second floor into full control as well.
Well, there's the start of a bit of a charge and drive through. They open up Vending. They open up towards the top of Exo stairs. Hat's still watching it, and they've sort of said, look, we don't need to fight and kill Loira on the top floor.
Set himself.
Exactly. It's the conversation from the coach, Redeemer, saying, you're overcomplicating things. You're trying to be perfect. We don't need perfect. We need round wins. And as you said before, they said it themselves, stop trying to kill me. Well, they're not. And you have to be the one that reacts to it. The Maverick opens up the angles, just makes these positions trickier to play, can roll the flashes through. They're baiting this crossfire, the pressure on, but Newers, he's the one that wants to try and get this next engagement. Look at the time, though. 30 seconds left. Doki might be that first point of cause here. They want to try and make sure Doki cannot swing onto this. They're hoping it goes to the window, but it's the vertical of Loira. Operates, activates, drops 2 players. Hat goes down on the window as well. Yoga still has the kit. Diaz is still standing, but Hat was outside, so there's no way they're getting him up. Alamau finds Diaz, and that is G2 taking us all the way.
Round 15 necessary to decide. Oxygen, they decided here, okay, well, Loira said it himself, we don't need to try and go kill him, so let's just cut through the first floor. We do our verticality, we try and make the push happen from there. We slow it down. But then as soon as they actually wanted to push the actual side itself, Loira said, hey, I know you forgot about me this time around, but look at that. I have a shotgun, I have an SMG-11. I could just start firing down at you from above and still be a nuisance. Even though he didn't deal with me, he's just been playing 4D chess. He's been trying to stop that. Gonna play the shield? We nade the shield.
Nade the shield. Well, will this be the last round of Siege G2 play at SI 2025? I said that was an important one to fight there, Doki. And you know, they wanted him to lean in, try and stop the plant from above, but he was like, this is a ruse. This is a trap. Not going to suffer from it. Swings around, gets the drop behind. 7 apiece at this point. Nothing between them, you would think, but you look towards the sort of kill game, you look towards the spread, and G2 is generally all positive. It's just getting the closeout of the rounds has really evaded them. In the meantime, you look towards OXG and, well, most of them are sort of negative. They're scrappy, they're scrapping, they're refusing to give up these rounds. Even when the sort of tide of the game is going against them, they're somehow finding solutions. A couple of big clutches, but at the same time, if it works, it works. And it is working for them all throughout today.
Quick openings being made, impact used to try and stop these Selmas from destroying, or rather, yeah, actually it was an impact. Didn't quite connect though. Opening has been made on one of the walls, the other one has been destroyed, but you know, that's breachable, that's foldable. So they got what they wanted here, G2. That's part one done. Again, they need to get some pressure down onto Warehouse sooner rather than later, but you need to get that width. They lacked that the last time around. It was all coming in from Warehouse. They lost it because of it. So, what's next? Clear blue. Or go jungle. Either or. And it seems for now that they're working themselves on getting control of blue. That might be the shield they were talking about. If they play it, we use a grenade, get rid of it.
Actually, while I did the quick numbers, G2 are plus 15 as a team KD. The Oxygen are minus 50. And yet it is max OT. And yet it is OXG putting themselves on that sort of series point twice here on this map. And G2 just cannot get the close downs on their attack. Slower and steadier. They're playing this with less of the surprise elements they had before. Alamau, as bold as an Ash can be, is that break on the shield position. They're in, they're blind, and there's Doki round the back. They're moving on for a second, and they get it. Yoga does find Doki before Alamau, but Gomez pops up and gets Alamau. They lose the shield, they lose Blaz. Oh, in fact, Uno, he's the one still going, and he's knocked down the Elamine. Loira, the big factor for G2. The man who's had so many clutch moments, so many multi-kills, is gone. OXG had one of the best days of Siege they will ever have and ever remember. And it is the start of their final drive towards that live stage. The day they have knocked down Shopify Rebellion, they have knocked down G2, and they are hungry for more.
And we gotta say it to G2, Uno, IGL, the hell of a game. Knew exactly what was happening the entire time around. The support staff did their job. You see it. He knew, he prepared for every single thing. And it hurts so much to lose when you feel so prepared. But Oxygen, they never gave up. They kept going. They adapted on the fly when they realized what was happening. And they secured themselves with a 2-0 victory.
SI 2025 is Cinderella story after Cinderella story. But, I mean, it's just a wild, wild ride. And again, another surprise result. All credit to G2. This is the end of their run. Let's go and see what the desk have to say. And I'm assuming very NA-centric.